All right. In this episode, Volume 2, Switching with the Serafina, we're going to talk about the attraction to these boundaries and consent and all this communication that goes on in the space that I had no idea about. Did other people have idea about this? I didn't. I had all the misconceptions. We're going to talk about what a scene is. We're going to talk about what sex work actually is. We're going to talk about what a dungeon is. And everything that other people thought they were. We're going to talk about safety and intimacy and trauma-informed play or intimacy. And we're also going to break down what negotiation and making a scene is. And I think we're going to actually be modeling it. So it's going to be a really good episode. Let's check it out. This podcast is for anyone who is in the process of becoming. I hope whoever is meant to hear what we have to say today is listening. But as always, all the cunts to the front. Yeah. The first time, I just didn't know what a scene was. It didn't make any sense to me. And also, I think we talked about what sex work is versus what it is and misconceptions about that. Mm-hmm. So one, you work at a dungeon, and if anybody hears dungeon, they're dark, dewy chains and sadism, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And that's not what it is. Yeah. So real quick, can you tell me what a dungeon is? And then I have an immediate follow-up question.
Sure. So a dungeon is a professional, legally registered, it's not always legally, but for the sake of this conversation, a legally registered business. Mm-hmm. It is a location where people can go and either attend play parties, which we can get into defining that as well. So get into a kinky event to play with people, or can go to pay to see a professional, dominant, submissive, or switch and do a scene with them, or book a session with mm-hmm. them in which you might do multiple scenes.
Mm-hmm. And at dungeons, there are no exchanging of fluids or genitals or kissing, literally any and all fluids and things like that.
The rules vary state by state, mm-hmm. but in California, there's no bodily fluid exchange. There is no, just the things that you were mentioning, no penetration of any mm-hmm. kind, even with toys. Mm-hmm. We don't allow a sex toy of any kind mm-hmm. on the premises. Mm-hmm. And I would also say, we don't expose our genitals. Mm-hmm. At a minimum, we'll keep underwear on. The client, this is where it's more of a gray area. Client we say you can undress to your level of comfort. Mm-hmm. I believe it's that we can't command them to mm-hmm. get naked. Mm-hmm. But if they choose to, they can.
Yeah.
And then the other gray area is if you negotiate it, they might be allowed to touch themselves, but we are not touching their genitals in any way. Just that, in addition to that, we're not touching their genitals in any way, and also we're not doing any sort of sexual stimulation of any mm-hmm. kind. So even if that is a thumb in the mouth and moving that back and forth, we don't do that.
That's not happening. Mm-hmm. Okay, so dungeon, registered place. You can come professionally, pay for a session. And a session could be teach me what this does, mm-hmm. or it can be let's map out this scene. Mm-hmm. And this is technically sex work, even though there is no penetration, there is no bodily mm-hmm. fluids exchange, nothing. I didn't know that. I very much super naive to that part. I'm mm-hmm. sex work. I immediately think
escort.
Yeah, escort.
Yeah,
escort.
I mean, there is in the phrase,
sex
you'd think there
included.
Would be sex. Yeah, right. I was very much the same way before getting into this.
Right. And I'm just okay, cool to know. Mm-hmm. And now I want to talk about not just happening at dungeons, but in places that practice or people who practice BDSM, kink, fetish, things like that. There are scenes, and scenes are negotiated. Mm-hmm. And this whole part is the part where was attractive, period. Not sexually attractive to me, which it
drew me
in because it was okay, you set boundaries mm-hmm. beforehand. Expectations are clear. I think the thing is you say what you mean and you mean what you say, and I very much value that. So I was oh my God, these people okay, two people or multiple persons mm-hmm. are agreeing on a space, the what, when, where, how.
I would even say you could do it with yourself. I would say one or more people that are agreeing to have a level of self-awareness to sit down and define how a structured amount of time is going to go.
Right. And it could be sexual and it could be not.
Yeah. And again, that it's like not only like that can be negotiated, but my favorite is even negotiating gray area or negotiating that some people, especially newer folks to the scene, which the scene is just what we refer to as more of the broad, like kink and BDSM world is the scene. But when constructing a scene, even if you're new, you may not know what your limits are, and that's okay. But you need to say that you like don't know.
Yeah.
And then you can build a scene around figuring that out.
Yeah.
And I have seen like the most instances of where things go wrong is from people hiding their unknowns or hiding the whether it's like the hiding an unknown limitation or hiding a known limitation, and
like not saying no when they
failure.
actually need to say no.
Yeah.
Or like stop or hold on or, you know.
Right. And there's varying degrees of awareness even about doing that. And so that is something where coming back to those soft skills that I developed is I do have a very good ability to suss out when somebody, it seems like they're hesitant to say no to me.
Yeah.
Or when they're hesitant to use, we also establish safe words beyond no, words you can use to pause the scene or so the most common is the stoplight system. So green is the scene, like whatever you're doing or the scene or
enthusiastic,
implement,
yes.
like yes, oh, love it, amazing. Yellow is quick pause, let's check in. And so you like stop what you're doing.
It should be in all intimacy, Jesus.
Yes.
Okay.
100% agree.
Yeah. And red, I'm guessing, is stop
red
right
is
now.
Stop all of the things, like drop the scene, drop the role play. We need to go into like safety plan mode, aftercare mode, which are all also things that ideal scenario you have pre-negotiated and predefined and prepared for. So that's to like stop all of it and go into like caring mode. So being able to suss out people that even if I tell them that they're allowed to do that and that I will celebrate them setting those boundaries, like I can see that they're like, for sure, I'm totally going to say no, but then don't. Or the people who will actively tell me like, I'm here to take whatever you want to give me. And like, no, like I can take it for you. I'm like, I don't want you to.
I don't want you to.
We don't know each other like that. Like that is something that you might be able to get to with someone that you see like frequently for a long time. And again, that it still is like negotiation. Like that's something you can build up to.
Yeah.
But still, and even like as I say that, like that's something that I'm not comfortable with at this point. But anyways, that I have will have scenes specifically for that kind of person where I will build in like commanding them to use safe words. And so one way I do that is, let's say that if we're doing a scene where they're interested in impact play, so hitting them consensually in safe places, and they have said that a hand is a green, is an absolute yes. They would love for me to spank them on their butt with my hand. And they also would love it if I used a soft leather paddle. Like those two are green. And I say, well, okay, well, for the next half hour for this scene, if I spank you with my hand, like I want you to say green. If I use a paddle, you are going to yellow me. And to have them practice with these two things, like we know that they're both like technically green. They love both of them.
Yeah.
But for the sake of the scene, like they're
practicing
going to
saying no.
Yeah.
You're like teaching, like practicing
and getting
boundaries
that in their body of like, so we do the scene,
I love
and
that.
I'm like spanking them with my hand. I want to hear you say green, and even within that too, you can talk about like how you're going to react to them saying the green, and like I want you to say green every single time that I spank you, and then they do. Okay, then I'm going to spank you more, which you've already established. Like they're enjoying.
Like both these, it's like it's a controlled. It's a controlled like experiment almost. It's but like it's a practice of getting them to say no, embodying like a boundary building
and having
in
the
a
reaction
safe way.
Be celebrating that no.
Yeah.
So at the moment that they yellow me, it's like it's you get to, and again, this you can negotiate what that celebration
like
or
a
praise
reward or
looks like.
something?
But yeah, that it like might just be like the phrasing, that it might be like, oh, like you're such a good servant, you're such a good sub, you're such a good like whatever word they love you using.
Good little princess,
Like,
good little boy, good whatever.
Good little slut. Like good little cunt. All the cunts to the front. Like that is absolutely a green word for me.
I love that.
But yeah, so then it becomes this like, this is what happens when you use your safe words.
Yes.
Like this is a place where the safe words are celebrated.
Oh
and
my
it's
God.
and especially it's that hack of, if they won't do it for themselves, do it for your dominant.
Yeah.
Like this isn't about you saying no for you. This is about you saying no to keep me safe. Secretly, it's about both.
It's about both of them. This is giving like trauma-informed play.
And that's exactly what it is,
That's
Carmen.
exactly. Did I just break? Did I just figure it out?
Look at you! You cracked the code. You detective, you.
Yeah. Okay. So okay. I just like, it just makes me so happy and just makes me literally feel good to know that like when informed, there's like informed play, just period out there in the world when people talk about BDSM, kink, fetish, or like sex work that isn't fucking like about actual vaginal sex or anything like that, or anal, like whatever it is. Yeah. There's like no exchange of fucking fluids, and this is literally it's whatever play, but it's informed. Is there are hard boundaries. There's yes, no, maybe, stop, pause. There's literally all these things are in place for the person or people who are engaging in this to feel fucking safe.
And that's really the purpose of all of this is, and I always say, like, this is like my mantra, my mission in life is to be a safe space for people to be able to explore their full selves and their full psyche and have that celebrated.
And I know that what I'm going to ask, there can be a deep, deep, deep dive into it. I feel like that could be a whole other episode, which we can 100% do. I want to like steps of creating a scene and negotiation and what that means. But I don't want to go, because we could have that probably 2-hour conversation.
Come to my class.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go to their class. So someone wants to do a scene with you. What are like your first questions? It's like, where, what, how, what's on the table as like a yes, what's completely off the table, like as far as like general, not micro details, but like general details. What is, if someone wants to do a quote scene, what does that look like?
Well, I would say if you're open to it, I really like modeling things for people. Okay. So if you, let's say between you and I, we wanted to, let's say that we are, actually, you know what? I'm going to have us define this as part of the negotiation.
Okay.
You are interested in exploring sensation play with me.
Okay.
The first thing that I would ask you is, where do you feel comfortable doing this? Okay. Would you, because I've got a play party at my dungeon coming up this weekend where we would have, like, they would be surrounded by people, but it's mostly people that I know and people that I would definitely can vet for or vouch for or feel safe around. And you would get that full, like, kind of dungeon experience. Or would you be open to it being us one-on-one at either my apartment or your apartment?
Okay.
One-on-one or group setting, what sounds more appealing to you?
Okay, so for this example, if I did that, I would say I could be a new person to the scene. I don't know anyone. I feel like safety would be like, no, I'd rather do it at your apartment alone. Okay. No external people, unknown people.
And you kind of already answered what my next question was going to be, which is like, what is your prior experience doing BDSM scenes and doing sensation play? I'm
a neophyte.
Amazing. Yeah. Welcome.
Nothing.
Happy to have you here.
Yes. Okay.
So because you have not done this before, there's a couple things that I definitely want to go over with you, which would be safe words. So anything that we're going to do during this scene, if at any point you want me to stop, I want you to use yellow, and that's going to be just a pause, like check in with me.
Okay.
Or if you wanted to end the scene, you don't like how things are going, you can use the word red.
I just love all these fucking
really like
the rules are so clear. Okay.
if you like what is happening, whether it could be a particular sensation, it could be a word that I use, a phrase that I use. If you like what's happening, you can say the word green.
Okay.
The other safe words that I personally love to add is blue.
Blue. I knew blue was coming. I don't remember why though. Tell me why blue.
Because I felt like there was a piece missing, which was green is we're in the like the good zone of the like everything's perfect, change nothing.
Yeah.
Blue is essentially go harder.
Turn it up. Okay.
Blue
okay,
is
okay,
like I love it and I want more.
And turn the fucking volume up.
Yes.
Great. Okay.
So
these are so fucking clear.
I want more, it's perfect. I want less, stop. And specifically with the sensation play scene, I will be using, I have a toy box of various sensations I can use on you.
Okay.
Do you want to know what all of those toys are? Would you like to see them? Or are you okay with me using the things on you and then you can yellow, red, green, blue me?
I think one of two things. I would like to see every single one of them. Or because in this case, if I did that and you were the person I knew and trusted, I would be like, go for each of them, but start at a level 1. And then I would like green, red and be like, nah, swap. And then go up. Obviously, you're a professional. You wouldn't be like, here's this. No.
Unless you asked for that. Even then, I would still be at like a 5.
Right. So I would be like, I guess I gotta check in with my own boundaries.
Which this is a great sign to me that you are paying attention to yourself and checking in with yourself and not giving me an instant answer. Do whatever you want.
You are right. I think in this scenario, I'd probably be like, show me everything. And then I can be like, nope, yes, nope,
great.
Nope, yes. So I think I'd start there.
That's awesome.
And then negotiate starting at a 0. And then giving you like blue, green, yellow, red, going through whatever they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that. That is something that I do very often with folks is the like, even like at the dungeon, we have a whole fabulous toy closet. And that even with a submissive who is like, use whatever you want on me, that if I've never played with them before, I'm still going to say like, here are the options. You choose like 10 options you're okay with. I will choose from those 10 options what I'm using and when, etc. So love that you said that you're open to choosing the things you're okay with and then trusting me to decide the order with the caveat of starting with, and let's clarify, 1 meaning gentle and soft.
Absolutely gentle and soft. Intro. Here's what this feels like on the skin lightly.
So with that, again, sensation play scene, and I'm trying not to get too hyper detailed with it, but I do want to ask that it's the we don't even I will say I'll ask the question, you don't have to answer it for the sake of time, but I would then want to get into how do you like to be touched? Where on your body can I touch you?
And where's a no?
And yes, as well as that's usually the if you ask where can I touch you, people are like anywhere is fine. The shorter answer I find is usually when you ask, is there anywhere that I cannot touch you?
Okay.
And
great
that can help people kind of reframe of the like where we're not. And with that, like I would even define like no like inside of my nostrils, mouth, eyeballs.
Okay.
Because people get crafty.
Okay.
Anywho, so
you have
touch.
You have those answers. Then what?
And then the other things that I would ask, let's see. So we've decided where we're doing it. We've just decided the activity, what we're doing using sensation play. We've talked about touch. So how I'm going to be touching you, where you're consenting to me touching you. We've talked about safe words. What about aftercare? Once we complete the scene, is there anything that I can do to support you from coming out of that scene? and let me know if you would like me to give some examples.
Yes, examples. So for people who have no idea what aftercare is, what is aftercare?
So aftercare is the activities that you would engage in once the scene is done. So let's say we do this sensation play. In this instance, I would like have you lie down on a bed and use these different implements on you. And then I finish with that. And let's say that for the aftercare, it could be as simple as a hug. And just to kind of bring us back into like present moment. I like to look at it as reestablishing that you are like equals if there was a dynamic involved. As well as I call it like bringing them back down to earth. Because ideally you're getting into like a fun headspace. Yeah. And it's like, let's
all intimacy.
Because some of this gets real dark. Some of this gets, we do call it like headspace, dom space, subspace, all of these things that are actual, like you could study them. Like if you looked in the brain, are like your like chemicals in your brain bringing you to this certain high that you want to make sure that you're bringing somebody back down from that safely and not setting them up for whether it's like just for psychological harm.
I won't say I'm being triggered, but I think I can think of so many unhealthy intimate exchanges that I've had in my past, in my life, that I'm just like, right? That's like, I'm sure a big part of why this is so like, yeah, you want to do this, because this should be an all intimacy. This should
so
be
healing.
It's so healing just to hear about it. And also I'm glad that I have like a platform that I can share with people who are coming out of horrible situations or either experimenting or curious or whatever. And it's just like there's safe ways to do everything for you to feel good and feel whole. And this whole like leveling, you know, if there was a power dynamic of being like equals at the end, I feel like, okay, so say I give you that information, say that information is like, I need a soft blanket, and to be wrapped up in like tea, given tea. Boom.
Do you have a preference for the type of tea? Would you like to select it?
Well, we won't get into it, but we'll call it chamomile.
Yeah,
like
great. So now I know. Great. So and I think good choice, because that's also something that like doesn't have caffeine.
Yeah.
So something that is going to have like a calming effect.
And
like,
this is all part of the negotiation. This is like all of it.
I would love to just like if we were actually doing this, I would want to know all of these things.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So
you get
it's we've got the where, we've got the activity, we've got the safe words, we've got the touch, we've got defining aftercare.
Yeah.
And then let's see what else.
And consent is woven in with the blue, green, yellow, red, and the negotiation that we're laying out, like hypothetically right now. Aftercare.
So now we've got like aftercare. I feel like I've got a good idea of how to shape the scene for you. So then my next question is just time.
Yeah.
Like, you want to do this for 10 minutes? You want to do this for 30? Even within that could get detailed of the, I know for me, like I can get nonverbal if I'm in the submissive position. And so I would say like, even if we're doing something for an hour, I want you to do a check-in with me every X amount of minutes.
Right.
And so I would suggest, as the more experienced person with this, that for the full experience that we give ourselves 30 minutes for the actual scene. And let's give ourselves like 15 to 30 minutes of meeting up beforehand, just getting things set up, getting acquainted, dropping into what I call pre-care, which is not everyone does, but I do like, similar to aftercare, is dropping into the right headspace for this scene that we're going to do.
Yeah. I mean, that could be, I'm guessing that could be like agreeing on the music and like phones are on airplane mode or not in the room or the space or whatever it is. And, you know, external, like all external
getting the physical space set up and also mentally getting yourself set up. So for me, it's more breath work. Yeah. And emotional co-regulation.
Okay, somatic in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And so helping someone, especially like with how much we have going on in our outside lives, it's like, I want you to be present for this. Yeah. So like taking some time to offload the outside world and focus in on each other, focus in again, and doing a check-in in that moment of like, yeah, we're negotiating this right now. And let's say going back to time, or like, let's do this 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
It gets to 2 weeks from now. You show up at my place and it's like, okay, like we've agreed to do this thing.
Right.
How are you doing? It's like, well, my dog just died and I lost my job, but we agreed to this and I'm here for it. And it's like,
Oh,
not, is this something that is going to help you process that?
yeah.
And because it could be like,
Could.
especially like sensation like that it could be very helpful
Mm-hmm.
and very, again, like very somatic experience, grounding experience.
Could be cathartic.
Or
Possibly.
it could be like we're doing the check-in and it's like, oh my goodness, like now is not the time to try something new.
Yeah.
And we can do this another day.
Yeah.
So that's where for me is like the pre-care is the just again like checking in,
Mm-hmm.
making sure like do we need to renegotiate before we do this?
Yeah.
So 30 minutes beforehand, pre-care time, during the scene.
The agreed upon scene time.
Yeah, we could do 30 minutes.
Aftercare.
Aftercare, I would let you define that.
Yeah.
And then I would even add on a buffer time.
Uh-huh.
And so it'd say like for this scene
Mm-hmm.
in my head, like this is still going to be a pretty light play. So I would just add another 30 minutes. So 2 hours total.
Okay. Okay.
Does that feel good to you?
Yeah.
The other piece that I did forget about, which is very important, is health issues. So again, a scene like this, very unlikely it's going to happen unless you might have an allergy.
Right.
So that is going to hopefully be taken care of by you selecting the toys that you're okay with me using.
Mm-hmm.
But that is another piece to think about.
Yeah, that would be like any
health
previous
issues.
It's like any previous injuries, health issues would be like the okay,
right,
start
especially
here.
like if we were to do bondage, then I'd want to know like, do you have any circulation issues?
Right.
Or if we're going to do like impact play or anything that could unexpectedly, like that I wouldn't expect on your body.
Okay.
Of like, did you have an injury? Do you have an allergy? Do you have the other piece, triggers? So
Trauma-informed play.
Yes, exactly. So I think that is also final. And one of the most important pieces is, do you have any known trigger words or even like with touch anywhere on your body?
Yeah.
That would hopefully be covered with the don't touch me here question.
Yeah.
But like anywhere I should avoid for that reason.
Beautiful.
And if there was, that would get into an extra step of creating a safety plan to deal with that specific issue.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, you have a very thoroughly negotiated
That's a very
scene.
thorough.
So, and that is like ideal scenario. And that's definitely what I aim for.
Yeah.
You don't always have time for that, or people may not have the level of self-awareness or patience or desire to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But ideal world, you are covering all of those things in order to do a scene. And all of that is your negotiation.
All of that was the negotiation for with scene.
And we didn't even get into like the relationship side of it. We want to go real deep.
That one we'll save for another day. What I want to get in is like your niche in this being like gender fluid and neurodivergent. So I want to talk about like neurodivergence and that umbrella. And then I want to end on another, like what some people consider to be taboo topic, which is polyamory. And just like intro to polyamory, which can be our outro to the episode.
Sounds good.
Right now, I want to know about your position of being a pro-switch who is neurodivergent and that umbrella and what's under it. So if you can talk about that, I would be interested. Other people would be interested.
100%. And you said, and the gender fluidity, yeah?
Well,
they are definitely tied.
Right. I was going to say, you have a very niche role in that you are a gender fluid switch and you have attracted clientele, I believe, that is like comfortable coming to you because of who you are in that space.
Yeah.
So how does that kind of set you apart when it comes to like being in the industry?
Sure. Yeah. I will say my brain immediately went to like something we've talked about, which is there are so many neurodivergent folks in the scene, and very much I think drawn to the structure and the being in a community that is so focused on consent and negotiation and boundary setting,
clarity,
and it's amazing. But there are very few, in particular, very few professionals, at least to my knowledge, that advertise that or that really like acknowledge that in the pro sense, and specifically that acknowledge how it influences play.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that as I got into the scene, I saw a real gap for. And as I talked to fellow neurodivergent professionals, fellow gender fluid, trans, and just queer professionals,
Mm-hmm.
that there is a gap for that. And again, trying not to rabbit hole into it, but part of the reason for that is getting into the type of clientele that can afford and that would seek out this type of service.
Mm-hmm.
Typically are older cishet white men,
Mm-hmm.
and what they are seeking typically
Mm-hmm.
is more of the traditional, what's called femdom or female dominant.
Mm-hmm.
And so money wise, like it makes sense why things are the way that they are. That it's like if you're looking to get into this as a profession and looking to make the most money that you can, that is the biggest audience to cater to. And again, as I got into it, even when I first started, was kind of with that mindset of like, okay, I'm going to use this as a way to heal my relationship with my femme side
Mm-hmm.
and as a way to play into this and at least like make money from it. Something
Mm-hmm.
that like for most of my life was like very frustrated, like being inaccurately perceived, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But when I applied to this specific dungeon, they, props to them, already had a section for gender nonconforming professionals.
Mm.
And the moment I saw that, I was like, dang
Fuck
it.
yeah.
I have to be myself. Like, fuck everything. Like, that is the universe, like, just screaming at me, be you.
Yeah.
This is about being you. This is about
Confirmation.
authenticity. This is your opportunity to have the type of impact that you actually have been craving and trying and wanting and like been drawn to and like you know you're meant to have on this world. Be you. And trust that. And I said this on my first day to the owner too, who was very, very supportive, but also just wanted to let me know just what I said, that like it's probably going to cost me clients. People aren't going to understand this gender fluidity
And
thing.
what happened?
And I have been doing phenomenally well, and have been a really a one word that has been used to describe me is a beacon for people who are looking for that safe space, for that gender fluidity, for that like using it because it does become a beacon, or it attracts people that are looking for a space to be themselves. So I do a lot of scenes that are revolving around gender play, or revolving around my other niche is self-care domination. And so really focusing on, even if you're not like gender fluid, trans under that umbrella, definitely works well for neurodivergent folks, is kind of hacking our brains to better ourselves through the concept of domination and through the concept of role play. So also attracting clients who are mostly neurodiverse, who I end up doing role play scenes with them that is very positive reinforcement based, which means you get rewarded if you do something good. Nothing happens if you don't do it. So it's neutral. Yes.
Can you give an example with anonymous like representation, of course, of like the type of a person who has come to you who has felt safe to explore something they've never explored before because of how you identify and like your niche representation?
There was one person who came to me who was and is a trans woman, and she was really struggling with really just like embracing and like loving herself, and having a lot of body dysphoria and wanting to essentially like practice, like she came for the session to like worship me and wanting to do what is called like goddess worship, and wanting to like give me a foot massage, give me a back massage and things that was just like celebrating my body and being like, I think like you're so beautiful and like I just want to be here, like to basically like, I mean, like I want to be you, and like I want to like praise you, celebrate you because like you're the type of like femininity, fluidity kind of thing that I want to be. And I kind of spun the scene so now I knew like that would be a reward for her. And in order to do that, I made her with her consent obviously um look in the mirror, and she had to say affirmations. And so she had to say, like, I love you to herself looking in the mirror. And it was like, again, like make me believe it. And like until I think we did it about like 50 times of just like saying it in different ways until like she kind of started like tearing up. And it's like again, and even it's kind of started off as more of the like commanding and then got into like I kind of like stood behind her and was kind of just like stroking her hair and was like, again, you're doing so good. Again, a couple more times, say it for me, and then I'll let you massage my feet. And then, like, if you want to, like, give me like a back massage, it was like, well, you have to say, like, give yourself a compliment. And it's like, okay, and like, what is it that you like about my body? And like, she described like what she liked about my body. And I was like, okay, you have 5 minutes to describe like what you like about your body. Convince me that you love your body, and then you can give me that back massage. And like by the end of it, it was like we were both crying, and like we did some breath work after, and at the end, like we were both kind of like, what the fuck was that? And it's one of my favorite scenes that I've done. It was very early on too. And she was doesn't live in LA, was just visiting. So I have not seen her since, but did get a really, 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 really lovely thank you message after. That again, with how early it was too, was just kind of like so affirming of like, I'm doing the right thing. I'm in the right place. Like I am meant for this. And it was just such a cool moment of like, again, like you were saying, like misconceptions about BDSM, like that was a power dynamic. Like that was like I was the dominant. I was the one who was controlling like what was going on, but there was no physical like pain involved. There might have been a little pain just with like the emotional healing there, but it was very um somatic, very cathartic, very again using the positive reinforcement and using what again really works for a neurodivergent brain is the um don't make it like don't do it for you, but like doing it for someone else.
Yeah.
And like just applying that and seeing just even just her walking out of there, like it I get like shivers down my spine of just the transformation. Like it was I'm gonna cry again now. Like it was so precious.
That's the most wholesome
Yeah.
I don't even know dungeon / dom experience I've ever I think I've heard of to date. I guess I should say we'll leave room for more, but how fucking affirming and beautiful and like confirmation of like you decided to do this. Oh, they already have a gender like fluid section like niche, representation. Oh yeah, you're gonna stick with that. Like how fucking
well, it was like that and that was within the first week. Like within the first week of me doing it, yeah. Now that I think it was about like it was like 5 days in.
I know the story. I love this
and
story. Yeah.
It was, and again, this was it was like just after even like me putting myself on the site as gender fluid, and then it was like that Saturday was me like having the discussion with the owner who was like fully support you, but like this is probably it's going to be hard for you to get clients if you do this. And then it was like 5 days later that all of a sudden it's like this person who is like had never been to the dungeon before. It was like, I saw you and like want to do a session with you, like just want to worship you because you're who I want to be. And I was like, ha, ha, ha. Which also, side note, just the it's still strange for me with my own like body dysphoria and journey. Like the concept of like somebody wanting to worship me was also like a very like there's very much a split of like my God mode that's like, yeah, obviously, because I'm hot shit and I'm amazing. Which is just something that I've trained myself and is an affirmation that I've told myself for years and years to help me believe it, because there's totally that other side of me that is like, I'm just a little weird amorphous blob. Like, yeah. Like what is being attractive? What is it's all just perception. There's a reason we say beauty's in the eyes of the beholder. Like what do you mean you're attracted to me? Like, for so much of my life, I was the ugly duckling and was, like, actively, like, bullied for different things, and so it's always, a strange little, like, brain break of, like, the n and also has been so healing for me as well, of, like, having people that are like, "I want to pay you just to be in your presence." And I'm like, "Yeah, damn straight you do." And then the little kid in me that's like, "Oh, that's nice. I have worth."
Yeah. All right, in the next and final volume with Serafina, we're going to be talking about authenticity and being gender queer in that space and neurodivergence and how that plays a role. We're going to also talk about polyamory and answer some like Q&As from Anonymous. So stay tuned for that episode. It's coming up next.